At the time that I'm filming this, I'm going to be graduating pre-college in 2 weeks or a week and a half, and I don't know if I want to talk about my experience necessarily. I think I might do that in a future video, but in honor of me graduating, I thought that I would finally make an official, clear video about what pre-college is. So pre-college is just a name that I chose to give to it because it's actually called Cegep, and that's not a very well-known word if you're not in Quebec, so it's why I decided to call it pre-college, because that's technically what it is. So Cegep is something that only exists in Quebec, only place in the entire world where it exists. And what it is a way for you to make a better transition between high school, secondary school, and university. So the way that the Quebec school system works, I'll just lay it out. So you have primary school, which is kindergarten to 6th grade, and then you have secondary school, which is 7th to 11th grade, and you have no 12th grade. You don't have that because you have Cégep and then you have university. So at Cegep you have 2 years, at university you only have 3, which is why there's no 12th grade. So you kind of take those 2 years and put them into pre-college Cegep. So it's still the same amount of years, it's just layered out differently. Now what Cegep is going to do is it's basically going to resemble someone's first year of college, I suppose. So you're going to have general classes, you have philosophy, you have 3 mandatory philosophy classes, 2 mandatory physical education classes, 4 mandatory French classes, and 2 mandatory English classes. And those are your mandatory classes. Now, of course, you have a major, just as you do in college. Now, your major usually has to do with what you're going to want to do at university, because you do need to plan ahead. That's the point of Cegep. So if you want to go into history, sociology, education, usually you will pick social science. If you want to go into medicine, nursing, you'll go in natural science. There's art and there's literature. Well, there are different sections in those as well. In art and literature, you have theater, you have cinema, you have writing. So you choose one of those to concentrate on. I used to be in cinema before I transferred to social science. I mean, there are so many programs. For example, if you want to be a police officer, you're only going to go to Cegep. You don't have university because there are, okay, so this might be so confusing, but in Cegep, you have 2 types of degrees that you can do. So you can do a pre-university degree, which is 2 years to get you to go to university, or you can do a technical degree. Now, a technical degree means that you won't have to go to university because you're doing 3 years of training. Now, technical degrees are for many things: police officer, school teacher, architecture, stuff like that. So you do those 3 years and you don't go to university, but the classes are just as rigorous. And you have to pass by Cegep to go to university. It's not possible to not go. If you're going to university in Quebec, it's just not possible to not go. You finish high school, you get to Cegep, you do your 2 years, and then you go to university, you do your 3 years, and yeah, this is the only place where this exists. Not in Canada fully, it's just in Quebec. The thing is, I'm right between Quebec and Ontario. I'm directly at the border because I live pretty much where Ottawa is, and that's why I'm going to University of Ottawa. So I've spent my whole time of education in Quebec in French, and then I'm going to school in Ontario, which is only a 30-minute bus ride away, I guess, 20 minutes by car, depending on where you're going, because I do live in the farther end. That's pretty much what Cegep is. I hope this cleared things up. I know I've talked about it a lot during my shorts, and I did make a few shorts where I sort of explained what it was so that people could understand, and now I have a full video, which is probably much clearer, and feel free to ask me questions in the comments. Of course, this video, I mean, will have been helpful, but I won't be mentioning pre-college anymore because I'm graduating. But But if someone ever needs to know, then I'll just give them the link to this video and it'll be much clearer than me just writing a comment. But if you do have questions, write them in the comments. I will answer them. And yeah, that is pretty much what Cegep is. I hope this cleared things up, and I'm so excited to graduate.